Hello everyone and welcome to another row scale tutorial. In today's tutorial we're going to be talking about signals. I know I did a live stream or whatever you want to call it about that we talked about signals a little bit, but it was really basic. But in this one I'm going to go in depth with multiple different ones. We're going to do the easy click button tutorial. You just click a button and it cycles through the signal colors. Then we're also going to do the timer again, which is the one I did in the live stream, but we'll do that as well. And then we'll also do it so that when the train hits a certain block, just like, let's say, it's like these sensors from the rolling stock loading video. Let's say the green one, when the train hits the green, it turns green, and the red one, it turns to red. Alrighty, so let's get started. I'm just gonna fly over here, and this world, as always, is linked in the description, and it's uncopy locked, so anyone can take a copy and use anything in here as they see fit. Alright, so real quickly, I'm just gonna make some signals, but it's not gonna be the best looking thing. And you know what, I'm not even gonna make it rows like that to scale. I'm just gonna make, since I'm not really going for looks, I'm just using this tutorial to show you how to do the coding aspect of it. So we're gonna make this the I'm just gonna call it red light, and then we can color it red maybe. How much red do we like? We'll go with bright red, and then we can go up and do red yellow light. Oh, come on. And then we can color it to a nice yellow. Just go with new yellow, and then we'll go green. Alright, so this is a very simple signal. Let's just pretend there's like a signal model to it. So I'm gonna group these all together and just call it signal. Which one should we do first? We'll do the click button, since that's what a lot of people want to know. Click button signal. Alright, so then we also need, that means we need a button for it. Alright, so let's just insert a part. We're gonna just make it smaller. Yeah, we'll just make, then we can call it button. I don't know if I've mentioned this in any of the videos, when you're building something for yourself, like, it's not going to be interacting with any other pre-made scripts, like with the trains or anything. You can name these parts whatever you want, but it's good to name them what they are, just as a habit. And you also need to make sure that they have different names, so you can't just have a bunch of so if you have the same let's say it's a two-headed signal and it's run by the same script, you can't have two green heads. Like, let's say it's another head, so it's like this. You can't have that in the same model, otherwise when you do the script, it doesn't know which one to do. So you maybe like do like green top and green bottom light type thing, if that makes sense. Alright, and then with the button, we're going to need to insert a click detector. So we can just search for click detector. Alright, and what this will do is this will detect the click. So like when the player comes up to it, that clicking mouse icon will come up to it. The max activation distance is how far away the player can be, the max distance away the player can be when they click it. So if you want to be like standing on top of it, you could do like 5 or 10. But they would have to be like standing like really close to it. Or 32 would be like out here. that they can click it. So we'll just leave it at 32 just for now. And then I'm going to color this the same color as these lights, as the red light, because it's going to start red. Actually, it really doesn't matter. We can just make it a random color, because I'm going to do it with the script. I'm going to make it change. So if you imagine, this would be on the layout, scaled down and on a model, obviously, but then this would be in the dispatcher room or whatever, and then the only thing the dispatcher could see is the button, so the button is then going to show what color the light is. Alright, so let's see. We'll go ahead and put the script inside of the button. It really doesn't matter as long as you code it accordingly. Alright. I'm gonna go ahead and name the script click button signal script. You don't have to name the scripts, but it's good if you have a bunch of script tabs open so you know which one is which. But it doesn't really matter. Well, it doesn't matter in the sense that it will work even if you don't name it. Okay, so we can go ahead and we'll just get the variables for all the lights. So we'll say GL is equal to, here, let's make it lowercase. GL is equal to script.parent.greenlight. And then local yellow light is equal to script.parent.yellowlight. And then local red light is equal to script.parent.parent.redlight. And then we can do local button is equal to script.parent. Is that all we need? Yeah, I think so. Alright. And then we can do local cur signal is equal to red, because the signal starts at red. Alright. And for those who don't really understand coding, here in the Explorer window, you have the hierarchy. So then the button is a child of the model. Okay, if this makes sense. And the button is a child of the model, and the model is the parent of the button. And then the model here is a child of workspace, which workspace is a child of the game. So if I were to do game, which is the highest level in the hierarchy you can go, and then dot, which with the dot, the period means you can access the properties, whatever shows up here. So like if I click, I don't have game open in the Explorer, so I can't look at its properties. But like let's say on the workspace, if you if you typed in workspace, so workspace dot, then the list, you can either add these events, the edit the properties, or the children of whatever you have here. Now for when you're coding, all of these, so everything here is a child of game. For all of these, in order to access them, you have to do game dot, so like game dot lighting or game dot server script service or something like that. Whereas the workspace, you don't have to do the game. That's the only one you can do it that way, as far as I know. Yeah, because you can't just do lighting, can you? No. Alright, so if that makes sense. And then, so then if we go back down to the signal here. So what this is doing, so we're going to the script, which is, we're saying this script here, dot parent, so then it's going, so if you click on this, it even looks at the, in the properties, you can see the parent here, so it's going dot parent, so now you're at the, so if you ignore this part, right, as the code's going through, it's looking at it, it's like, okay, script.parent, so the variable GL is equal to button now. But then it goes the parent of button, which is then the model. And then it's like, oh, we see, and now we see, oh, look, we're looking for the child green light. So then here, so then GL is assigned to the object of green light. if that makes sense. And then for this one, this is just, we're taking the variable's current signal and equaling it to the string value of red, which for string values, it has to be inside of quotations. You can either do double quotes or single quotes, as long as it's the same thing on both sides. All right, so now we'll go down here. What we can do is we can do button dot mount. There's several ways you can do events and functions. I'm gonna go ahead and do the easier way to look at it, in my opinion. It adds more lines of code, but it makes, at least to me when starting out, it made a lot more sense. So we can do function, we're gonna call it click, because you're clicking the button, and and then we'll do open and close parentheses, and then we're gonna hit enter. So then it will autofill the word end. So anything in here, when the function click is ran. Is that how you? When the function click runs, anything in between here and here will run. In which, by default, when the script goes down, anything, it will just, the script will skip over the function unless you call it, which you can do like that, click, or how we're going to do it this way. We're going to do button.click detector, so we're accessing the click detector, and then the mouse click event, and then we can do :connect, and then we can just type in click without any parentheses. And that, so whenever whenever the button is clicked, once the click detector detects a click on the button, it will call the function. Alright, so now we're going to do some if statements. If cur signal is equal to red. Now you need to make sure, oh wait, hold on. Then enter, just will autofill the end. So just like the function, it will run anything between here and here. Now, I know when getting into coding, people are always confused on what the heck the double equals is. It's like, what the heck is that? So in coding and all that for computers, one equal sign means assigning. So like we're assigning this value on the right side, whereas double equals is comparing. So it's checking to see if current signal is equal to the string red, if that makes sense. And then before we enter any code, we're going to enter down and do else if current signal is equal to yellow, then, and then we can do another one, else if current signal is equal to green, then. Alright, so what's going on here is, if it's going to go through, when the button is clicked, it's going to go through and see if the button is red, if the current signal is red. If it is red, then it will run whatever's in here, in between here and here. If it isn't red, then it's going to go down to here, and if the signal is yellow, then it'll run everything between there and there. If that's not the case, then it will look and see if it's green, then it'll run there and there. And then for some reason it's not red, yellow, or green, then it just won't run anything at all. Alright, so for here we're going to do this. So current signal is equal to, or then, so if it's red and it's clicked, then we want it to change to yellow. Current signal is now equal to yellow. And then I'm going to go ahead and copy this and paste and paste. For yellow, then we're going to go to green. And then from green, we go to red. And make sure you're spelling everything correctly, because otherwise it's not gonna work. Because you got to make sure, because it's looking at the C to make sure. Because if I spelled like that read for some reason, like I mistyped, it would never be able to go to red. Alright. Now this is where it's going to get a little confusing because we have to think ahead of what's going on. So, oh wait, no it's not. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to make it yellow, the current signal equal to yellow now. So current signal equal to yellow, we're going to do GL. Now there's several ways you can do this. Some people will make it so that all the lights are invisible except for the light that's on. Some will make them like dim. Some will have them all solid, and then maybe the one that's on will become like neon or something, so it emits a light. But you can figure out how you want to do that. But for this tutorial, I'm just going to make them invisible. Actually, I'll make them half invisible so that you can still somewhat see that they're there. Alright, so we'll make it so the gl.transparency, which we're going, so let's go to green light. We see transparency, and then we're going to equal it to a number between 0 and 1, in which 1 is invisible and 0 is visible, fully, like, solid. So we'll just put it at 0.5, and then we'll do yellow light.transparency is equal to 0, because it's the light we want, and then red light.transparency is equal to 0.5. And then the nice thing is we can just copy and paste this line of, and then we can just change it how we see fit. So for green, we want that to be 0, and then that 0.5. And then for red, we want these to be 0.5, and that one to be 0. Alright. And then one other thing we need to do is make it so the button changes color. So we can do button dot color is equal to, one easy way to do yellow light dot color, because that's, so we can do button dot color is equal to gl dot color, just so that it's the same color as the light. We don't have to worry about RGB values or any like brick colors or anything. Is equal to RL dot color. Alright, I think we're ready to test this. So we'll go in here, we're gonna make sure everything's anchored, which it isn't because I'm crazy and forgot to anchor it. Alright, and then we're gonna go ahead and just do play here, so my character spawns here. I don't know why, but lately Roblox is, past like 2 days, these errors have been showing up, but you can ignore them. They're Roblox, not us. As far as I can tell, they haven't affected anything, so you can just clear the console or ignore them. We probably should make it so that it updates. It's when it first loads, but if I click the button, then you can see that yellow is lit, then green. Maybe I'll make them invisible, or more invisible than red. Yeah, let's. So coding's a lot of trial and error, so we'll go like maybe 7.75. Let's see. And then we're gonna need to go. We can go ahead and do click like this, which means we want to change this to green. Because we're gonna want it to turn to red once the game starts. So by putting click there, that means the script runs once the game runs, without waiting for the button to be clicked. So then when we jump in, we see that it's red. You wouldn't have to do that if you actually set it up so that it started red, but I just like doing it the script wise, so because it's just making sure the code runs anyways. Alright, then we can go to yellow, green, red, yellow, green, red. And now that I'm thinking about, even though it's dispatcher controlled, we still probably want a sensor, a hit sensor, so we can do that real quick. Alright. So I'm just gonna make a new part and insert it into the model. Anchor it, make sure it's not can collide. We're gonna call it a trigger. Or sensor, but I'm gonna call it a trigger. And then we're just gonna move it right here. And we're gonna go like this. I like making mine tall. Probably should move it to about where the signal is. We'll go ahead and just put it right here, and then we'll move this whole thing over. Like like that. And then the trigger can be whatever color. I like to color code mine so that every different like system, I guess you could call it, has a different trigger. So like signals have one color trigger, the loading and unloading triggers and all that have a different color, so you can easily see it. Or like for my defect detector, there's I think it's purple in the editor. All right, so now we can go back into here and go to, and we can add the trigger into here, into our variables. Local trigger is equal to script.parent.trigger. There we go. And then we can go ahead and go in here and also do trigger.transparency is equal to 1. So that when we start, it goes invisible. Oh, while I'm in the editor, it's just personal preference, but I like to make it somewhat invisible. Okay, there's that. Alright, and then we'll add another function down here. And we'll make it function touch, just like that. And then we can go down to here to trigger.touched connect touch. Oops, make sure there's none of those quotes. Now, inside the parentheses in the touch function, we're going to type in hit. So so you can put variables inside of the function. It's a little bit more advanced thing. But basically what happens is when this calls the function touch, it will make whatever the first word is here, the object that hit it, that is touching the part. So basically, let's say you walk by it and you walk on this trigger and only your left leg on your avatar touches it, then it will send through here, hit would be equal to your left leg, your left leg part. So what we're going to do, we're going to see if hit.name is equal to, actually no, what we'll do, hit.parent find first child glider, then, so basically what this is doing, this is going to, okay, let's say the train hits it, okay, so any part on this train is going to touch it, then it's going to look and see if there's any parts in this entire model called glider, which there should be if it's a train. You can make it something else if you want only certain trains to trigger it or something, but so basically it's looking for any parts called glider. If there is a part, even if there's more than one, if there's at least one part called glider in there, then it will run anything in here. So then we can do cur signal is equal to green, and then we can do click. Wait, did I misspell it wrong? What? Oops, did not mean to do that. Did I misspell it? I must have. Wait, what? Oh, 1 equals, haha. There. So now just like how it runs down here, it's gonna reset it to green so that when it runs, it trips to red. Another way you could do it is you could just copy and paste that and put that there so it sets it to red. We'll go ahead and do that because I think that makes more sense. Even though it's less lines. Actually, it would probably be faster. Less resource intensive if it just did that. Okay, yeah. So whenever a train touches this, you don't need this if statement if you want it so that even if a person walks over it, but if you want to stop that from like a person walking over it, you can just do that. Whoops. What did I do? Oh, I minimize that. Okay. I'm going to publish this game so it saves and it publishes so that you guys can play it. So then we're going to grab a train in a second. We're going to set the signal to, let's say, yellow. Alright, I like clearing this just so I know if I messed up or anything. So it's yellow, and if let's say I walk over it, nope, it didn't trip or anything. So we'll go over to our train over here that we made in previous tutorials. in which it's just going to unload and reload because that's how we have the sensor set up. And then it's going along. Let's slow down because it's a yellow. Yep, and it switched to red. In which we got to be careful because there's a train ahead of us. Alrighty, so there's the button. That's the click button, so you know. Alrighty. Okay, so the next thing on the list is the timer. Let's do that next. Right. So I'm just gonna copy and paste, duplicate that, and we're gonna make this the timer signal. Just so that it's easier on me. So then we can get rid of, we're just gonna drag the signal script out of, oops, did not mean to do that, into the signal, and then we're gonna just get rid of the button. Alright, then we can name this timer signal script. Alright. In which we can get rid of everything in the click. And we can also get rid of the button. We can get rid of the current signal as well. Alright. Yep, okay. So we're gonna start this all out by making the signal red. Whoops. In which we can go like, we can do the comment like this, make signal red. Oh, no, it should be green actually. I'm sorry, because that's how these signals work. Alright. Yep, so by default the signal will be green. And then let's say when a train hits it, it's going to go to red. And then we can go wait, let's say, whatever timer. So we can go like, just for testing purposes, we're just going to make it wait 5. And then we'll make it go to yellow. And then we can go to 0. Yeah. Okay, and then we'll do another wait 5. And then we'll just make it go to green. 0.75. Alright, now there are several flaws with this signal. One, it's just a timer, so that if the train stopped on the other side of the signal, so let's say if the train just went by and stopped like right here, it might show green even though the train's just sitting right there. Another thing is that currently our code's no good, for it looks at least, because as the train goes by, several parts are going to hit it, and it's going to trip a bunch of times as the train goes along. So that there's going to be times where it's just going to start freaking out by going between yellow and red and all that if your train's long enough, and it's just not going to look good. So what we're going to have to do is make it a little bit more complicated to make it so that once it's touched, every time it hits red, it resets the thing. So let me think on how we're going to do that real quick. Come up with nothing, which is no good. Well, what we can probably do Actually, this might work. Hold on. Because I can't think of any. I don't know why. My brain is just... Oh, green light. What? Not a valid member of workspace. What did I... Oh. Oof, we gotta get rid of one of these parent on each of these. Because it's no longer... The script's no longer in the bud. There. And that's what the output's for. Just double check. Yep, nothing. Okay. So it's green. Let's drive the train real quick. I'm gonna grab cars, because I just want to see what happens when you have cars. Red. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, it does that. Yeah, and then it starts freaking out like that. That's what I meant. Alright, so, what we can do is a cooldown. So we can do, that might be the simplest way of fixing it. It might not be the best way of fixing it, but it's a way to fix it. Cool equals false. And then we can type in and cool is equal to false. Then cool is equal to true. And then at the bottom, false. Now, that's definitely not the best way of going about it for how the signal should work, but it is a way to figure it out. Alright. So we got red, 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 yellow. So it's just going to go through the cycle. Green. And then which drop back to red. I really think, if you really need help on, if you really want this type of signal over the click button, then, just DM me on Discord. Just go into the, or ask in the, Steel Rail Interactive Discord, which you can find by going to the ANG, or you can DM me my Discord, which is Bumblebee Jake, hashtag 1949. So yeah, because I really think that most people would probably go with this option, because this is really, out of all three options that we're doing today, this is probably the best way to go. Especially since I've given you the code, you can just copy it and then put the signal in however you want. Alright, now for the other type, which I've seen people do before too, sensor controlled. Sensor signal, in which trigger red. Oh, I can't spell. Red. And then we'll go over here like yellow. So these are for like one direction signals, if that makes sense. Like if the track's only one direction, then this would work as well for like a block signal. We'll go ahead and put that there. Oh, and then we can name this sensor signal script. Trigger red, and then we can go red, and then we can copy and then paste this. Yellow, I'm going to go ahead and just do trigger Y and trigger R, and then trigger green. Whoops, my phone went off. I thought I put it on vibrate. Sorry about that. So we can go here, like that, make all the triggers invisible, make the signal green. Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. Alright, then we're going to do trigger R, touch, red. Yeah, so touch R is one way of doing it. And then we can get rid of the cooldown. So literally what this is going to do is make the signal red. Whoops. 7.5 and then 0. And then we can copy this function. 1, 2, Y, green, and then we can go 0.75, 0, and then this can be 0, and then 0.75, and then we can copy and paste the trigger, and then just change each of these accordingly. Alright, then that should work. Ba-dum-ba-dum-bum-bum. So now it's green, and now we're supposed to be going this direction. So let's go ahead and just make it so it seems like that we're not running by a bunch of signals. Alright, we got a green signal there. We'll go at 50%. Got the lovely green signal. And then we got the sensor. So it's going to be red. Oh, it's going to do the flicky thing. You probably should just spread out the sig. So you can fix that by spreading out the sensors. So if I put that closer, and let's say I put this all the way up here, and then the green could be all the way over here. That would fix it. Yep. Okay. And again, I'm not going to worry about too much about this signal because the signal is probably superior to the other types. But if you have questions, again, you can just DM me on Discord or ask questions in the Steel Rail Interactive Discord, which the link can be found on the Roblox ANG group page and the games, which they have. There's a link in the social media tab, which can be seen if you're old enough to be on Discord, which is 13 years old. So, I hope this tutorial helped you out.